Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for coming out on Labor Day. Throughout the weekend, I and everyone you see behind me have been working with the National Weather Service and the state emergency response officials to make sure that we are properly prepared for this storm system. Earlier this afternoon, I signed the statewide emergency declaration in anticipation of Tropical Storm Gordon's landfall, and I have authorized the National Guard to activate 200 guardsmen effective tomorrow morning. These guardsmen will be pre-positioned primarily in southeast Louisiana, along with 63 high water vehicles, 39 boats, and 4 helicopters. We just completed a meeting of the Unified Command Group and had a briefing from the National Weather Service to give us the most recent information. Right now, the storm track has moved slightly to our east, but the threat of severe weather continues to exist for Louisiana, and it is critically important for everyone to remember that this storm has every possibility to track further in our direction. In fact, if you look at the cone of the present track, it includes New Orleans and Baton Rouge. So large metropolitan areas of Louisiana continue to be in the track, although on the western side of the track. Much of southeast Louisiana can expect to see heavy rain of 4 to 6 inches, possibly 7 inches of rain in some areas, along with storm surge of 3 to 5 feet is also possible. Beginning tomorrow afternoon, sometime around 2 o'clock, we expect tropical storm force winds will be felt across South Louisiana. This storm, particularly in southeastern Louisiana, as the storm moves up, impacting first in Plaquemines Parish. This storm is still a very real threat to Louisiana. Nobody should think that we're out of the woods just because it is the Mississippi and Alabama coast that currently are under hurricane warnings, because just a small shift of the track towards the west will bring those warnings into Louisiana. This morning I did have the opportunity to speak with FEMA Administrator Brock Long. He assured me that the federal government stands ready to assist the state of Louisiana should the need arise, and in fact FEMA has already dispatched to Louisiana John Long, who is here, and he's standing behind me, and we appreciate having John Long here, and appreciate the working relationship that we've got with Brock Long and the folks at FEMA. I've also been in contact with Mayor LaToya Cantrell in New Orleans, and we are closely coordinating and assisting the city of New Orleans as the storm approaches. It's very important for everyone across Louisiana. If you haven't done it, please update your emergency plans now. There are tips to prepare for this storm at getagameplan.org. That's www.getagameplan.org. We will post additional updates at emergency.la.gov and through the governor's office. 511la.org, that is 511la.org, is the best source for real-time road information going forward. And as waters begin to rise in some areas because of rain or storm surge, please do not attempt to drive through water if you don't know how deep it is. Turn around. Our experience over the last few years is that's when the most fatalities happen, with individuals trying to drive through water. Our next Unified Command Group meeting will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and we will follow that meeting up with another press conference to update everyone. But between now and then, I encourage everyone to pay attention to your local news throughout the night and into the morning. Obviously, every several hours, the National Weather Service comes out and they will provide an update, and that's critically important as to what we can expect tomorrow and how we should continue to be prepared. We expect a significant amount of announcements related to closures coming out this afternoon, whether it's school closures in various parishes, but we do not expect to make any announcements today on state office closures. As of right now, all state offices will be open across the state of Louisiana tomorrow. Based on updates on the from the Weather Service, there may be some early closures of state offices tomorrow, but there are no state office closures as of right now. So again, I'm encouraging everyone to be prudent, to be cautious, to heed warnings from local officials, and make it your business to stay informed, stay updated as things can change rapidly. I'm going to be followed by Secretary Sean Wilson. He will be followed by Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid of the Board of Regents. But all of the individuals standing behind me will be available for your questions once Dr. Kim Hunter-Reid concludes her remarks.
Thank you, Governor. What I'd like to share with you is that the department has been responsive already in terms of requests that we've received from local government. It started this morning with traffic getting off of Grand Isle post-Labor Day, and then also pre-positioning assets for New Orleans in terms of some barricades as well as some high water signs that have been put out in advance of potential warnings, and we're prepared to do that all across the North Shore with District 62 as well as District 61 here in Baton Rouge, and we will continue to maintain updated data throughout the evening and, of course, throughout this entire event on 511la.org. As the governor said, the most important thing that we tell folks in terms of public safety is turn around, don't drown. It only takes a few inches of water to change the outcome of that experience, and we would like for no one to be caught in those situations not knowing where the water is and how deep it may be. And so we'll continue to provide that information and update and be able to assist all local governments in their needs, Governor.
Thank you, Sean.
Good afternoon. Kim Hunter-Reid, Commissioner of Higher Education. In terms of the higher education update, we have just over 12 campuses in the potential impacted areas. All of the campuses are on alert. They are both monitoring the weather and also in touch with law enforcement. I have spoken to all of the system presidents today. They are, of course, in close contact with the campus presidents. We have one closure, Nunez Community College, as of now, but as the governor mentioned, we want to encourage people to watch the weather closely, to have a game plan, and to make sure that we are all focused on safety. Campus safety, student safety, that is what matters most to us. And so we will continue to monitor the weather, to be ready to support those students and those communities that are impacted, and look forward to additional information as it is available. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Can you talk about how confident or whether you have concerns about the New Orleans drainage system?
Well, I guess we always have concerns, but it's my understanding and my belief that both with respect to power generation and the pumps, that we're in better shape than they've been in a very, very long time. In fact, the report we got out of New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken, and I know that the mayor earlier today had a press conference, I think 116 out of 120 pumps are operational, which is the most that I've seen in the time that I've been governor. And they are not having problems with power generation either. So we don't anticipate any issues there with respect to the pumps and to the turbines. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Governor, you mentioned it was important to go ahead and get prepared in these next several hours. Why is it important to go ahead and take advantage of that window and not panic, though?
Well, first of all, the panicking is never a smart thing to do, but being prepared is always prudent. And we do have some time left between now and when tropical storm force winds will be in Louisiana. We do hope that the track of the storm doesn't shift further to the west, which would potentially expose the state of Louisiana to hurricane force winds if the storm continues to strengthen, as it certainly may. But nobody should panic, but everybody should take this seriously. That means you should get a game plan. You should be watching the news and taking directives from your local officials. For example, there are a couple of voluntary evacuations in place as of now down in Grand Isle. The folks ought to be paying attention to that, but also in Orleans Parish outside of the protected area, outside of the levees. And so it always, I think, makes sense to be cautious and prudent and don't get caught to where it's too late. So if somebody needs to stock up on groceries or supplies or whatever, they need to certainly do that before we expect tropical storm force winds in Louisiana tomorrow afternoon. Anything else? Well, I want to thank you again for coming out this afternoon on Labor Day weekend. I think we had the great fortune last night of beating one hurricane out of Miami. And that was a great night for the team and for our state. But this particular storm has the potential to be very serious, and so I'm asking everyone to pay attention, to be prudent, stay informed, and do as you are directed by your local officials. And when we have more information, we will certainly let you know. As of right now, the next scheduled press conference will be at 11 o'clock. I'm sorry, following our 11 o'clock UCG meeting tomorrow. Thank you very much.